Hey guys, welcome to Ryan's Range Report. Today I'm going to go over a detailed instruction on mounting a scope to your rifle. Everything from the rings to the mount to the scope itself. First off, I want to show you guys a couple of things that you're going to need to get started. So on my rifle, I already have the mount on there, but you want to have your rings and your mount match, obviously. But so here we have rings, we have our scope. I have 2 torque wrenches and a couple of levels. I also have a deck of playing cards. They're going to hold the scope in place while I tighten down the rings after I get it level. So if your rifle doesn't have a base built in, which most of them don't, you're going to want to try and get one of good quality and one that obviously matches your rifle and the rings that you're using. If you have a Picatinny rail, then you want to get Picatinny rings. There's also other kinds out there, the Weaver, the Dovetail. Today we're just going to use this as an example. This is my pick rail that came with my short action customs rifle. And the rings that we're going to use today are the spur mount 34mm. There's about 3 or 4 sizes of rings out there. 34mm, 35mm, 30mm, and 1 inch are just the ones that come to mind. Just make sure and check your scope and make sure that you get the right the right rings with the scope. Also, you want to make sure that your bell is going to clear once you get it on the rifle. There's a few different ways to do that. Usually you can ask the manufacturer. There's a lot of things that you can look at online to figure out which size is going to be right for you. For me today with the Bushnell ERS, I'm going to use the 1 inch rings. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your mount and you're going to clean it. It could have some factory oil on it, and make sure you clean the bottom of your action from your rifle. And then you go ahead and install this. It should come with between 2 to 8 screws, just depending. This has 6 here. These are number 8. Most are going to come with number 6. Usually if you buy a rail, it comes with 2 sets of screws. Just try and figure out which one fits, and then you'll torque it down to the specs. I think spec is normally around 35 inch-pounds. I don't normally recommend using Loctite on hardly anything on your rifle, but if you're going to install a base, I think it's okay just to put a little touch of red on each one of these screws and get it down in there well, and they're tight. There's no reason to over tighten, but just make sure it's in there snug. Next, I'm going to grab my rings. And just kind of snug them down here, just finger tight. Now I'm going to take the tops of the rings off and set the scope down inside. Okay, so now I've taken the tops of the rings off, and I'm using my levels to get the gun level here in the rest. So I'm going to put the scope in here. I'm going to work on my eye relief. These spur rings actually have a level here in the bottom. I'll try and get a picture of that here for you guys to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get comfortable behind the rifle here in this rest, and I'm going to look behind the scope and make sure I'm on full magnification right now, and I want to make sure that I get a full sight picture. I can come up and down a little bit and just see what it's going to take, like how far back I would be if I wasn't clear. And right now it seems very clear. For me, that seems perfect first try. Now if you do see a little vignetting, the little black circle in there when you're on full magnification, you either want to scoot it forward or back until you don't see that anymore. You don't want to get it tightened down in these rings and then go out in the field and go to full magnification and not be able to see your target. Now that we have the scope where we want it and it's set up for proper eye relief, I'm going to try and level it. I find with most tactical style scopes, it's best to take the turret cap off to get it level. Okay, so now the scope is level and it's where I want it for the eye relief that works best for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rings, the top of the rings, I'm going to put them back on and tighten them down. I'm using this deck of cards here to hold it in place while I'm tightening it down, because it always seems to shift a little. So we're just going to take our Borka torque wrench here and torque these to 50 inch-pounds. Most rings are going to be 65. Spur recommends 50 on these. Okay, so now I have everything back on the gun. I have the turret caps back in place. I have the sunshade back in place, and I've put the bolt in. You want to make sure that your bolt is going to clear the scope. And everything functions well. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I know I've done one other video on scope installation before, but I wanted to just make sure I touched on everything that I think I missed out the first time. If you like this video, please share it. If you don't, please let us know in the comments, and notice if there's anything else that you'd like us to do reviews on in the future. Thanks for watching.